Welcome, everybody, to the Old Gold Show. With you, as always, I'm co-manager over at Hammer and Rails, Andrew Ledman.
And I'm Casey. Will they let the people in the building? Bartley. That boiler upload, Rivals Network.
And we're coming to you the day after Purdue's victory over Grambling State. 78-50 is your final. Casey, of course, is referencing the log jam that people had getting back into the field house in between sessions. Painter talked about it after the game and how much of a strange situation it was. You'd think they would plan these things out a little better. Purdue fans, I saw some folks on Twitter saying they weren't getting into their seats until about 8 minutes gone by in the first half. Even though they had lined up outside, there were lines out the door. Fewer games in there on Sunday, so you would think it wouldn't be a problem. But we'll see. Hopefully they learned a little bit of a lesson.
Yeah, it's annoying, right? Because, this is, first of all, Indianapolis gets a lot of credit for being way better at hosting things than they should be.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of things that go against that, whether it's Indianapolis's fault or NCAA. I think we both know who we usually blame on things.
Yeah.
But just you got to know, overtime, late games, long games, those are possibilities. You're creating a buffer for one reason. And that buffer is to allow fans to get back in the arena.
Yeah.
So the original push-off date or start time was 7:25.
Mm-hmm.
It got pushed back to 7:59.
Yeah.
If you already have a preset buffer and you need to sit it back 40 minutes and you still can't get in everyone in the building before the game, you really mismanage whatever the hell you were planning.
Yeah, and the fact that
there was no overtime.
Right. When the games were announced, when the times were announced, my friend Joe sent, we have a group chat of a bunch of Purdue folks, sent a message. He said, if for anybody going, prepare to wait in line to get back into the arena. So he knew on, Sunday evening when these times were announced, it would happen because it happened to him. I think he said either a year ago or 2 years ago when he went to the first round that Purdue was in, because it's just a madhouse trying to flip the arena, clean it up, get everybody out, and then get everybody back in. It's just a real frustrating process.
What's also annoying is it's set up so well there at Cambridge. There's plenty of room and spaces where you could have either had way more people checking people in.
Yeah.
You could have pre-checked them through security into the little VIP area between, and you could have had 4,000 or 5,000 people just waiting there already ready to come in and just have a few more bodies grabbing tickets like that. So many ways that you can make that not an issue. It was insane that you're this game's starting and half the seats are empty.
Right.
And
Either way, very pro Purdue crowd. Purdue started out a little slow, a little sluggish. Most of the first half, I think every Purdue fan had a little bit of deja vu from a year ago. It's a 16 seed. Purdue's a 1. We're not pulling away like we should. I think it was about even 3.5 minutes left, 4 minutes left. Purdue was only up 31-27. And at that point, did you feel the pit in your stomach at that point, or was it just me and everyone on Twitter?
No, I mean, not really, because it was 12-1 on the offensive rebounds.
True.
By the end of the first half, Zack Edey was unbelievable. Braden Smith had already made 3 3-pointers. By that point, obviously Zack Edey was dominating. Obviously, Braden Smith was not the same Braden Smith as last year. As long as you have those two, you're going to get out of the round of 64. That was without question. And it was honestly because Purdue was kind of pushing away before. And then they just had one of those 2-3 minute stretches that they have where they lose the game a little bit, started turning the ball over. I think they had 4 turnovers in a 2-minute stretch. And something I asked Pater after the game, just once again, it just came in a flurry. And he was just yeah.
He's you're telling me.
Yeah, and it was just it was real annoying. Maybe we should stop doing that. And, because it's not hard coaching right there. It was Lawyer and Smith miscommunicated, and it was passed that Lawyer
behind one of them
when he threw it, and it just went out of bounds. One of them was Camden Hyde. He just didn't catch a ball.
Yep.
which
Right
is
off his hand.
something Purdue does like a lot. And it's wild. But yeah, I wasn't worried. Um, Once again, it was Grambling was making, because defensively they weren't great in the first half,
No,
but
no, a
Grambling
lot of
was,
easy shots for
I
Grambling at times.
I don't know if easy is the word. They were not super contested mid-range shots.
Yeah.
But like that's not generally if Purdue does lose, it's when a team makes a bunch of those, but like making a bunch of those early is not something that like terrifies me.
Puts
I don't
dread
think
in you.
yeah, they didn't look like they were shook.
No.
Except maybe Mason Gillis doesn't want to shoot as much in March.
Yeah, we can get to that in a minute. He looked a little hesitant a few times there, especially in the second half. But in the first half, I mean, Purdue did build a lead to like 8 or 9, and
It was
then
9.
they kind of
Fletcher Lawyer.
yeah, and then it kind of got a little bit lower, and then I said it got down to 4.
My grandma calls it the Fletcher bumper.
Okay.
Buffer.
Okay.
Buffer.
All right.
The Fletcher buffer went from
Got
4 to 9 real quick using
Yeah.
the Fletcher buffer.
I mean, we should use it more. We
Right.
should use it more. I'll admit that when it got down to 4, I'm sitting on the edge of the couch and I'm like, it's okay. We've been in control the whole game. It's fine. We're gonna get through it. It's gonna be just fine. And it was at this point my wife came downstairs from putting our son to bed.
And you blamed her because hurt people.
No, she looked at me because I had texted her earlier and I was like, "Hey, we're up by 9." Because you never know when she's gonna come down from putting the kid to bed. So she comes down. She turns to look at the TV and it's a 4-point game. She goes, "Do you want me to go back upstairs?" And I was like, "No, you're fine. You're fine." So then, we went into halftime. I think we were up by 9 at that point. Yeah, 27-36. And the second half was just a completely different story. A completely different Purdue team. They came out ready to just put the hammer down and say, "Hey, we're the 1 seed. You're the 16. You're going to play how we want to play. And we're just going to absolutely dominate you." I mean, in the second half, allowed just 23 points and scored 42. So just a much better performance on both ends of the court for Purdue. And of course, the great Carson Barrett 3 to end the scoring, which put Purdue over to cover, which was hilarious that it happened with a walk-on who scored 3 points the entire season. You wonder how thrilled a bunch of people are with him and how angry a bunch of people are with him, but that's the nature of the business.
Kind of karma for the Wisconsin game where
right, yeah, true.
AJ Storr just last second decided to one man give it to Vegas a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously after the game, like there's a lot of, I think we kind of have to preface every Purdue talk a little bit with like, let's make sure to mention that Zack Edey, by the way, 30-20, only the second guy to do it in the NCAA tournament in 50 years.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. He's pretty good. I mean,
yeah.
He was so good that there was no way they were collapsing with the way that he was rebounding.
No.
Like, and the game was not in jeopardy because of how dominant he was as a physical force. And it's good to see that in March.
Yeah, like, it was interesting.
Translates.
Because, you were at the game, I was watching it at home, and you texted me, "Hey, what did their coach say? What did Painter say?" Because they do those kind of worthless in-game interviews.
6 minutes into the game. Let me hear about what you say.
Yeah, and they asked the Grambling State coach, and he was like, "Look, if Zack Edey scores 50, that's okay as long as we stop their shooters. But we can't allow Zack Edey to score 50 and not stop their shooters. We gotta stop someone, and we're probably not going to stop Zack Edey." So he knew that going in. I mean, he's obviously done well for himself as a basketball coach in getting his team into the NCAA tournament. So he knew you can't really do both effectively unless you've got some incredible personnel. But allowing 21 rebounds to one guy, 30 points, and that's just a monster performance. And then, Purdue shoots 37% from three. Not perfect,
Fine.
not their season average, but you're going to
Fine.
win a lot of games when you shoot 37%. So guys like Braden Smith did well, Fletcher Lawyer, Lance Jones ultimately I think had a real up and down game, but did hit 2 of 4 of his 3-pointers. So when Purdue is doing that, they're hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, Edey, it kind of speaks to just what he does away from just scoring, how dominant he is. And Purdue missed 3 front ends in the first half.
Yeah.
They were 13 and 22 from the free throw line. Like, you got to fix that a little bit. And that was mostly just Zach, and he missed a couple early, and kind of seen that. If one of the first few miss, he'll miss a little more during the game. Still just 8 of 14s. We're not like in like Shaq zone.
No, I think he started 4 of 9, I believe. And then he made 4 of his last 5.
Yeah. And the real issue was Purdue just kept missing the front end in the first half.
Yeah.
So it's just like, those are points just handing away.
Yeah.
But like Trey told me, he had a much better second half than the first half. And he's like,
yes, he did.
I was a little too juiced in the first half.
I wondered if that was going to be the case because everything that happened last year, and then this is your opportunity. You got to go out there, and you're just so psyched.
Yeah, for the most part, I felt like people handled that pretty well for Purdue. But we've talked about this too when it comes to Lance Jones. Like, he's kind of a luxury as long as Fletcher's playing well.
Yeah,
and Fletcher playing well doesn't need to look like 20 points every game.
No.
Like, he had a clutch 8 points. He was 2 for 2 from 3. The offense just always looks better when he's on the floor because he knows how to move and he attacks, and he's got a good timing for it. And like, when you have 2 guys that are as good and consistent as Edey and Smith, it's kind of okay if the other guys don't put a full 40 together.
Right.
You just need to catch good moments from a couple of them throughout the game. And I mean, one of the biggest stories, the one thing I stayed up late writing about was the 2 freshmen.
Yeah.
I thought Camden Heide and Miles Colvin both are Miles is doing things that, like, the defense has obviously improved, but more than anything, his entry passing, nights and day. Like, he's looking for it now. He's stopping. He's so long and athletic that, once again, basketball is like unfair because literally everything is easier if you are just faster and or taller than people.
Right.
And that includes just getting the ball into Zack Edey. Like, he had a couple really nice passes where he just stopped. It looked like they wanted to pressure him, and he just jumped over them and like threw a little one-handed pass inside to Edey. And like, just having that timing, that sense of the court as a true freshman now this late into the season, I mean, it's remarkable. How many people have we seen fall victim to losing Painter's trust?
Oh, yeah. And then it's very hard to get it back in season.
Yeah.
You can rebuild it over the summer. Yeah.
In tournament time. They don't come back.
I mean, 12 minutes for Colvin.
Yeah.
I think if you
came in early.
in the month,
he came less than 6 minutes into the game.
Yeah. I think if you look back at maybe the month of February, I'm not sure he had 12 minutes at all.
Right. He had 8 DMPs from January to the final stretch where he started playing again.
Yeah, and now he's getting 12 minutes in a win-or-go-home game.
8 times the coaches decided, I don't need to see Miles Colvin on the court.
I would like you not to play.
Like, bravo to him. And it's something that, like, PJ Thompson has talked to me about all season. Miles Colvin is locked in. He is in the room, like, watching film, getting better every day. And there's no better testament to that than he's playing right now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and I think most people think of him mainly as a shooter, as a scorer, because he has such a great shot. Yeah. Didn't make a shot in this game. Took 3, missed them all. That's fine. I love that he was able to take those shots, but he also grabbed 3 rebounds and had 3 assists in those 12 minutes. Yep. And I mean, that's a positive for me.
I thought it's the best he's played all season. Considering the stakes, like, and everything.
I'll grade
he came out grabbing a rebound early. He's like a rim protector.
Yes.
He altered a layup the very first possession on defense, like
I thought he blocked it, but they didn't credit
He
it to
didn't,
him.
but like the guy went up and go, oh God, I have to really throw this up.
Yeah.
And then like Camden Heide, 8 points.
22
dunks.
minutes.
Like he's just solid and takes nothing off the table for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
early offensive rebound was huge. Just like he looks so much more comfortable in his own body on the floor now, even from the start of the season. And he's been good all year. So, and that was kind of my question to a lot of the guys in the bench, like, or afterwards in the locker room. It's weird, right? You guys go to your bench and you get more athletic and you get longer. Not many teams.
Yeah, that's not normal.
And like, do you guys feel that out there? And like, and Smith had the funny line. He's like, yeah, I throw that lob to Cam. I'm not throwing that lob to Fletch. He's not getting that pass.
Lawyers taking unnecessary shrapnel in that question. That answer. You didn't need, Fletcher's like, you didn't need to bring me up.
No, he pointed at it.
Could have been anybody.
He said,
could have been anybody.
Not throwing that. I thought we saw everything we wanted and needed to see from Purdue.
Exactly.
And a demon is dead. Are all the demons dead? I guess not. No.
But that led me actually to what I wanted to ask you. We both think this Purdue team has a very high ceiling. We both think they can go to the Final Four, if not further. They've got all the talent. They've got great coaching. They've got a really good path for them to get there. Do you think that just the mental hurdle of this first game is going to allow them to play better and even maybe a little more loose in the second game? Does it make the second game easier because the stigma of this first game is now out of the way?
Yeah. And like, it's so fast paced now. Like they play on Sunday. We are barely over 24 hours away from
right.
it.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
Like 26 hours away.
I think the most important thing is Braden Smith was super aggressive.
Yeah,
he shot 9 3-pointers. Love it. Painter loves it. He's that after game. Like that's what I want. He takes that pull up, and I'm in heaven. That's exactly what I want to see. And it should, because like there's 2 guys on the floor that can do whatever they want whenever they want. So they should want to score.
And they were both on Purdue's roster. So when you got the 2 guys that can do that, you should feel pretty confident.
And also, he's taking 9 assists and still getting 10 assists. Or 9 3-pointers and still getting 10 assists. 9 assists, 10 assists. Yeah. 10 assists.
Yeah, because he had a double-double.
It's not the same. Like, this team is not the same.
No.
Not the same.
Braden Smith just unlocks everything on this team, his improvement from last year to this year. So, I mean, it was a huge relief in the second half when Purdue obviously put the hammer down, started, pulling away, winning by 20 plus as a 1 should over a 16. So I think most Purdue fans now feel a lot better. They're not satisfied by any means, but getting through this, I think, was an emotional moment for a lot of Purdue fans.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be. I mean, it was a big thing last year. Like it's easy to be indifferent or make fun of other fan bases and like, oh, you care too much and blah, blah, blah. Like that's an emotional thing. And like, it's sad. Like you feel bad for the players and the teams and like the fan bases. Cause like, it does matter. That's why we're all talking about this. Why you're watching this video. Like
I feel bad.
It's okay.
I feel bad for that whiteboard.
Yeah.
That whiteboard from last year.
The hole keeps getting bigger every time they show a picture of it. Like eventually I think it's going to be like the entire city of Columbus is just a hole in the ground.
We ever get a confirmation of who that was? I mean, we know who it was, but did anybody ever actually say like it was me?
Some things are better left to the imagination.
Yeah. I mean, we all know who it was, but like it's never been written down.
I'll tell you what, the hole started at about 6'10".
Just another shot at a short guy on the team for no reason. Unbelievable. So anything else about this Purdue Grambling State game? Otherwise, we're going to take a break and look ahead to Purdue's next opponent, Utah State.
Grambling is a good team. They executed. They played hard. Like that was a good team. They put up a fight for as long as they could have.
There is one thing. I did feel kind of bad for that guy who got the flagrant on Edey. Because
that was atrocious. You can't do that.
No. I know that, but they showed the replay of it, And like he does.
His
I mean,
realization.
Yes,
Yeah,
his realization of what I've done. And he goes, and like, let's go so fast.
Well, it
and
makes sense for the one guy who like lassoed him.
Yeah.
And they didn't
hold him down
review
by
it.
his arm.
Yeah,
Yeah. But when they showed the replay of the guy doing the flagrant and his eyes went, ooh, and he just let go. And he knew the moment he did it. He was like, oh no. But so I got to respect him for that at least. But all right. That's it for Purdue Grambling State. Take a break. Look at the round of 32 game against Utah State.
The best month of the year is here, which is why you need to know that we are now partnered with BetMGM. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 all through the NCAA tournament. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not that bet hits. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your hard-earned money. This is how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you get up to $1,500 in bonus bets, regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Most importantly, we do have some fun stuff coming for the conference tournaments and especially for the NCAA tournament. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, and what I love the most, a nice parlay boost for anything you could possibly imagine betting on in the NCAA tournament, from odds and getting an at-large bid to Final Four futures to the highest seed to make to the Sweet 16. I'm calling it right now. BetMGM is the king of the prop bet for your March Madness needs. So go download the BetMGM app, use the code FIELD, and sign up today. And while I've got you, a quick request: the best way to support the Field of 68 and our content you get for free is to engage with us. Rate and review the pod, like and share the YouTube videos, tell your friends about us. It helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to the show.
And we are back. So Purdue takes on Utah State, the Aggies, on Sunday around 2:45. They were victorious over the TCU Horned Frogs, 88-72. They played after Purdue. They're in Indianapolis. Casey, I know you said you didn't get to watch a ton of the game, but does anything, before we get into it, anything stand out about Utah State? Anything that troubles you? Anything that you think is something Purdue can exploit before we get too deep into some stats here?
Yeah, so like, obviously they had a really good shooting night. Shot 42% from three. Isaac Johnson's their big 7-footer. He's their big dude, and he was 2 of 4 from three. And he is a 3-point shooter. Like, he shot 69 of them on the year. So they're gonna try to hide Edey on Great Ozabar. How's that for a name?
It's great.
Impressive. So they're gonna hide him on the power forward, and that'll be like, he's a pretty good athlete. He's pretty strong, but like, and honestly, he is one of the better players in the country at drawing fouls, and that's a lot the way that he just moves at his size.
Yeah.
So that's a little concerning going against Edey, who, kind of the way you temper a shot blocker is getting inside, and like, he's got some heft. He's 6'8", 250, and moves quick. He nearly took out his entire team bench late in the game trying to save a ball. And
good.
Like, Roman Reigns' spear just
that's bad.
Yeah, it was unnecessary too. Like, there was no chance he was getting to the ball.
Well, you love the energy though.
Yeah, it was like when Camden Heide dove to the ground.
Right.
Like, he saw it and he's like, I can't get to it. It's NCAA tournament.
Maybe I'll make one shining moment. Yeah. Maybe I'll make one shining moment.
Yeah. So it's just like, make a business decision in the wrong way.
Right. Yeah.
But they've got a 6'11" guy who is very scrawny, who found
he's very thin. Yeah.
So like, for Utah State, it's going to be a lot of, can Ozabar be really good in play? And can Johnson, like, he fouls a lot. He doesn't play a lot of minutes. Their big guys don't play a lot of minutes. They count on Ozabar doing a lot. So it's like, can you attack Edey on one end and then still survive on the other? That's the question every time. But yeah. It is a scrawny Utah State team that got out rebounded by TCU by 11.
That's one thing I was
That
going to
stuck
point
out
out.
to me.
They're not a strong rebounding team. Of course, they play zone, which everyone knows Purdue has in the past struggled with. I don't think it's going to be a problem as much this year because Purdue is surrounded with great passers, for one, and they've got great shooters, which everyone always says you shoot your way out of a zone.
Yeah. We also do one other thing. You have a great point guard.
Oh, well, yeah, sure.
Smith can carve up a zone.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was included in great passers, but sure, that can be a separate thing. I mean, one thing I noticed in this game, because I stayed up to watch it, it was just a very sloppy game, kind of a frenetic pace. Like, have you ever watched like 8-year-old basketball?
Unfortunately,
like 8-year-olds.
Before men's league, there was always like kids league, and
yeah, and it's no shade on 99% of the kids who are out there playing basketball, because I'm glad they're out there. Some of them are going to be great, but man, it is just like 8 kids run into the ball and like it gets knocked around, and rebounds are like tip drills and everything, and it really just felt like this game was being played at like 1.5 speed, and not in a good way where they're like really running and gunning. It was like a bad pass and it gets kicked and it's moved around, and it just wasn't the cleanest and smoothest game I've ever seen. To your point though, Utah State shot the ball really well from 3, 42%, but good thing for Purdue is that's about 10% above their season average.
Right.
They're now after this game, up to 33%. They were at 32 as I checked before the game. So not exactly a really strong 3-point shooting team. Obviously, anybody can get hot in the NCAA tournament. You never know, but you have to assume, water finds its level. That 33% has been over, 30 plus games on the season. So you have to assume they're going to be close to that during the game on Sunday. Overall, they are a good free throw shooting team. Hopefully Purdue doesn't send them to the line a whole lot. Obviously Purdue does a great job of not fouling. If you look at KenPom, overall, they're 44th on adjusted offense, 31, adjusted defense, 65. So, about the middle of the pack there. I mean, they're still green, but, toward the lower end of the green there. One thing that stood out, their 2-point defense is 286th. So that you would think would be something that maybe Purdue could take great advantage of, considering they have the National Player of the Year down low.
Interesting. They gave up 21 offensive rebounds to TCU. 21.
It's a lot.
And TCU, rewarded that by shooting 17 of 45 from the field from 2.
Yeah.
And 7 for 22 from 3. If you give Purdue that many more possessions, you're probably not going to win.
Yeah, that's tough. And one thing I think that worries a lot of Purdue fans, anytime we face a team that is unknown, that we haven't really seen before or studied, they're like, well, what kind of defense do they play? Do they force a lot of turnovers? You look at their turnover percentage, 209th in the country.
Yep.
So as Casey likes to point out, very salmon. A lot of salmon on that particular metric. So very low, not exactly a team that turns you over, which is great for Purdue. Again, not a great offensive rebounding team, as Casey just said, 197th in the country. So these are things that Purdue does well. They do, they're a good rebounding team. Utah State, not a great offensive rebounding team. That should play into Purdue's strength. They're not great with 2-point defense. Purdue, really good job getting the ball down low and into the lane. Maybe a guy like Fletcher Lawyer, we get the Lawyer bumper, goes and takes the buffer. Sorry, it's
buffer.
Either way, and takes it to the hoop a couple times. And then maybe this is a game where we have that Smith mid range that he loves to take. So I think there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of good things Purdue can do in this game. But as you said, they've got a couple guys who could be trouble. But that's to be expected. We're in the round of 32 in the NCAA tournament. It's not going to be a cakewalk, but I think Purdue is the more talented team. I think Purdue overall is the better team. And I think they're going to play a better overall game than they did on Friday, just because of all the nerves and the monkey being off their back for that first game. I think that cannot be underestimated for how much that first half struggle kind of was because of that.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a little bit of a thing. There will be a familiar name for some Purdue fans, not for you, but people who pay attention to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Ian Martinez came over from Maryland, was there the last 2 years, had a little chuckle with him. What?
He averaged like 4 points at Maryland. So don't act like he was a guy who was a star and suddenly wound up at Utah State. I'm sorry I don't remember the 9th guy off the bench for every Big Ten team from 2 years ago.
I'm pretty sure, because we had a chuckle about the last time that he played Purdue. He kind of ran them out of the gym. I'm pretty sure he was pretty good that game too.
Well, he may have been.
Checking. Yep. 7 points.
Yeah, 7. So,
yeah.
Like I said, I looked him up, and I think he averaged 4.4 points.
He's gone from a off the bench at Maryland to he led them in points with 21. Good player, strong player. Utah State does have some beef at guard. Darius Brown's pretty good, pretty hefty.
He played 40 minutes yesterday.
Mason Falslev. Kim Palm has him listed at 6'3". He's a big boy. Like he's a thick guard. He plays hard. Really impressed with him as a true freshman. But this is also a program, Utah State, that hadn't won a tournament game in 23 years.
Right.
So this is the battle of the demons. It's demon on demon. Which demon?
They are.
Which demon can block out Zack Edey?
No one. No demon. They are in the powerhouse Mountain West, though, which has been, knocking off the SEC and knocking off other teams in this NCAA tournament. They were the Mountain West champions, I believe. So, no slouch there. But
no, 26-5 regular season. So it's not Utah State Utes. The Utah Utes. Who's the Utes? Who's the Utes?
I believe they can call themselves the Utes, but they're the Aggies.
Yeah, see the Aggies. So you do think it's because I got it was late last night.
I guess it is you. I guess Utah is the Utes.
It's Utah.
So it's Utah is the Utes and Utah State.
Utah State Utes sounds so much better than Utah Utes.
Utah Utes. I feel like it's hard to say.
Utah Utes is stupid. Utah Utes.
Well,
shout out Utah Utes.
Shout out Utah Utes.
Most importantly, Danny Sprinkle.
What?
Danny Sprinkle, head coach, Utah State.
I did not know his name was Danny Sprinkle.
Danny Sprinkle.
Does he come from a family of ice cream entrepreneurs?
You think they named Sprinkles after someone named Sprinkles?
I don't know.
That seems a little silly, Ledman. Are we being silly this morning?
We are. I had no idea this guy's name was Danny Sprinkle.
Psychopath. Absolute lunatic.
All right.
Slamming tables, mad. Every bad play, mad. Yelling at someone, mad.
Hey, maybe we can get a tech and some free throws for us.
Mad at his own guys.
I'd like 2 free points.
Mad at his own guys, mad at the other guys, mad at the refs. Just a mad guy.
Well, could be entertaining to watch. Maybe he'll lose it based on the officiating of Zack Edey, and like I said, we can get some free points or maybe get him tossed. Who knows?
Tossed in with Sprinkles.
Yeah, I like
Danny
to toss in some sprinkles.
Great Osabar. Falslev. I guess that's a good name. They've got a British guy on their team.
That's random. All right.
Yeah, it's just Utah State facts. Just sharing Utah State facts.
There you go. So I think that'll about do it. Now that we're getting into names and where people are from, is there anything else we need to know about this game tomorrow? It's on CBS. I failed to mention that, but 2:45 tip, CBS. Anything else you want to say about Utah State or there's Purdue squad before we head into the round of 32?
It'll be a good test to see Purdue go up against some length on the perimeter.
Yeah.
Just basketball-wise, I think if there's been a couple common threads of what Purdue struggled with at times, it's that. One once again, a zone will make that easier. I think it's really hard to play smart. It's hard to play smart offenses with guards who are decisive if you're going to zone. And I think Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith both really fit that category. Because especially Lawyer, who's not, one-on-one going to break down a bunch of guys.
Right. Yeah.
With a zone, you get it moved and like that space is kind of created.
There's
for
opening.
you.
Yeah.
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 So like, I think look for him to have a really good game.
Well, there you go. Heard it here first from Casey. Now,
Lawyer buffer.
Lawyer, though, get the Lawyer buffer. We'll be just fine. So, Purdue, round of 32. Hopefully, we'll be coming back with you to talk about the Sweet 16. Till next time, folks. Boiler up.
Peace. All right, I'll get this baby caked up and walked out and pop.
All right.
Peace.